The door creaked open like a confession I never wanted to hear, and there she was, Elena, my wife of 12 years, stumbling into our dimly lit living room with the grace of a ghost who'd lost its way. Her cheek was swollen, a purple bloom of violence unfurling beneath her eye, and her lips split like a promise broken in two. She clutched her side, wincing with every breath, her designer coat, the one I'd bought her for our anniversary, torn at the sleeve, smeared with what looked like dried blood. "Mark," she whispered, her voice cracking like thin ice, "I need your help. Please." I stared at her from the armchair where I'd been nursing a whiskey, the TV flickering some mindless game show in the background. The room smelled of stale takeout and the faint, acrid tang of regret. For a split second, the old me surged up, the man who'd once cradled her through nightmares, who'd whispered vows under our rain-soaked gazebo. But then the truth hit me harder than whatever fist had marked her skin. This wasn't some random accident. No, Elena's secrets had teeth, and they'd finally bitten back. She'd been coming home late for months, her laughter echoing from phone calls she took in the bathroom, her perfume laced with a stranger's cologne. I'd ignored the signs at first, chalking it up to work stress, to the way our marriage had frayed like an old sweater, comfortable once, but now full of holes. But 2 weeks ago, I'd followed her. I'd seen her slip into that sleek apartment downtown, arms wrapped around a man who wasn't me, his hands possessive on her waist. The lover. The thief who'd stolen pieces of her while I picked up the shards. Now, here she was, begging. He got angry, she sobbed, collapsing onto the couch, her hands trembling as she reached for mine. I didn't mean for it to go this far. "Mark, help me. Call the police, or just hold me. I can't do this alone." The words hung in the air, heavy as lead. Help her. After the nights I'd spent alone, staring at our wedding photo on the mantel, wondering where I'd gone wrong. After the lies that piled up like unpaid bills, each one chipping away at the man I thought I was. A laugh bubbled up from my chest, not the warm chuckle we used to share over bad puns, but a raw, jagged sound that echoed off the walls like shattering glass. It startled even me, turning into something darker, more unhinged. Elena's eyes widened, confusion flickering through the pain. "Mark. What's so funny?" I stood, towering over her for the first time in years, feeling the weight of 12 anniversaries crash down. "Funny? Oh, Elena, it's hilarious. You waltz in here, marked up like a canvas from your little Picasso, and you think I'll play hero. After everything." My voice rose, laced with the bitterness I'd swallowed for too long. "You chose him. Over and over. And now that he's shown his true colors, you come crawling back to the fool who stayed." Tears streamed down her bruised face, mixing with mascara in black rivulets. "I was lost, Mark. We both were. Please. No." The words sliced through the room, final as a slammed door. I grabbed my keys from the coffee table, the jingle mocking the silence. "You made your bed, darling. Lie in it." And with that, I walked out. Not with a dramatic flourish, but with the quiet finality of a man who'd finally found his spine. The door clicked shut behind me, and as I stepped into the cool November night, the laughter died in my throat, replaced by a hollow ache that threatened to swallow me whole. That was the night everything shattered. Or maybe, if I'm honest, it was the night the rebuilding began. Our story hadn't always been a tragedy scripted for late-night confessions. Elena and I met in a cramped college coffee shop, both of us drowning in midterms and cheap caffeine. She was the girl with wild auburn curls and a laugh that could chase away storm clouds, sketching fashion designs on napkins while quoting Hemingway like he was her best friend. I was the engineering major, steady as a blueprint, building model bridges in my dorm room and dreaming of a life where love didn't have moving parts. We clicked like puzzle pieces forged in fire. By senior year, we were inseparable, road trips to the coast, where we'd park on cliffs and talk about futures painted in broad strokes, her launching a clothing line, me designing sustainable cities, kids someday with her curls and my freckles. We married young, at 24, in a backyard ceremony with string lights and her grandmother's quilt as our aisle runner. Vows exchanged under a harvest moon, promising to weather storms together. The first cracks appeared subtly, like hairline fractures in glass. My job took me to site after site, long hours troubleshooting bridges that spanned rivers wider than our growing distance. Elena's boutique downtown boomed, but the success came with late nights at industry parties, choosing buyers who smelled of money and ambition. We'd collapse into bed exhausted, our conversations shrinking to logistics, dinners in the fridge, or, don't forget the dry cleaning. Intimacy faded like an old photograph. I'd reach for her in the dark, only to find her back turned, phone glowing with unread messages. Tired, she'd murmur, and I'd roll away, staring at the ceiling, wondering if love was supposed to feel like this, like holding sand in your fists, watching it slip through no matter how tight you gripped. The affair started, I later learned, as a flirtation. His name was Victor, tall, charismatic, a venture capitalist with a penthouse view and a smile that promised the world. He funded her expansions, wined and dined her at galas I never attended. It's just business, she'd say when I'd question the late hours. But business doesn't leave lipstick on collars or hickeys blooming like forbidden flowers. I confronted her once, 6 months in, after finding a hotel receipt crumpled in her purse. We sat at our kitchen table, the one we'd picked out together from that flea market in Vermont, and she crumbled. It's nothing serious, she wept. You're always gone, Mark. I feel invisible. Her words gutted me, because she wasn't wrong. I'd buried myself in work to outrun the fear that I wasn't enough, the steady guy who fixed things, but couldn't mend us. We tried counseling. 3 sessions with Dr. Hale, a soft-spoken woman with wire-rimmed glasses, where we unearthed resentments like buried mines. Communication is key, she'd say, handing us worksheets on active listening. For a while, it worked. Date nights at our old haunts, her hand in mine as we walked the pier, whispering apologies into the wind. I quit overtime, took up woodworking in the garage, carving birdhouses that I'd leave on her nightstand like love letters in cedar. But the pull of Victor was stronger than our fragile repairs. She drifted back, drawn to the adrenaline of his world, the yachts, the spontaneity, the way he made her feel alive in a marriage that had grown quiet as a library. I saw it in her eyes, the guilt warring with excitement, the way she'd flinch when I touched her, as if my hands were reminders of the cage she'd built for herself. By the time she came home bruised, the betrayal had metastasized. Victor's charm had curdled into control, jealous rages over her, divided loyalties, demands that she cut ties with friends, with me. That night, a gala after-party had turned ugly. He'd accused her of flirting with a colleague, his fists flying in a haze of champagne and fury. She drove home in a daze, the only anchor left in her storm-tossed life, the husband she'd forsaken. And me? I'd laughed. Walked away. Because staying would have meant forgiving the unforgivable, or worse, becoming the villain in my own story, trapped in a cycle of pity and pain. The first days after I left were a blur of cheap motels and microwave dinners, the kind that taste like cardboard and regret. I crashed at a buddy's place, Jake, my old college roommate, now a divorced dad with a couch that sagged like his spirits. What the hell happened, man? He asked over lukewarm beers, his toddler's toys scattered like landmines on the floor. I told him everything, words tumbling out in a torrent I'd dammed up for months. He listened without judgment, the way only true friends do, then clapped a hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing, leaving. But now what? You gonna wallow, or you gonna rebuild? Rebuild. The word stuck, a splinter under my skin. I didn't know how, not yet. My job offered remote work, so I holed up in Jake's spare room, staring at blueprints on my laptop while the world outside buzzed with indifferent life. Nights were the worst, insomnia wrapping around me like barbed wire, memories replaying on loop, Elena's laugh at our wedding, her sobs in therapy, the purple bruise blooming on her cheek like an accusation. She called, of course. Voicemails piling up like unanswered prayers. Mark, I'm sorry. I went to the police. He's gone, but I need you. Text followed, raw and unfiltered. I was wrong. We can fix this. Please come home.